Hi, this is April. Welcome to Crochet After Dark podcast episode number 5. If you're new here on this podcast, I love to share everything crochet related. In this episode, we're going to show off one of my new finished objects, FO, as well as several works in progress or WIPs that I have going. Let's get started. So last week, I think you guys all saw, if you're returning, that I started on a filet crochet blanket. This is a Be Happy blanket. Let me make sure I have it the right way. And I did get this finished. So this is a pattern off of Etsy, and I'll link it below. But it just worked up so nice. And what I did was a panel at the top and then the Be Happy in white, and then I repeated the yellow honeycomb panel at the bottom. So it came out really nice. I'm really surprised at how quickly this worked up. This was my first time doing filet crochet, and I think one of my favorite parts was that as you would get to the end, each end, if your count was off, you knew it, and so you could easily frog back before you got multiple rows down the way and then realized something was wrong. So that was really cool. The only thing I didn't like about trying filet crochet is that because there's so much counting, it was hard to, watch TV or do anything where you had to pay attention. So this was more of a project where I could have YouTube in the background and just kind of be working on it. So for a border, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. So I wound up doing it like a modified moss stitch. Let's see if we'll show there. So the first 3 rows are moss stitch. And then I put this little, it's like single crochet, chain 2 single crochet at the top. And that kind of made a very subtle wavy edge, which I absolutely love. So the pattern, again, is on Etsy, and I'll link it below. So I can't show a video tutorial for that, but I have added to my never-ending list of videos to create to work up a video of this border to show you guys. So this is my finished object for the week. There is only one. I kind of powered through this one, and it turned out really nice. Now, in other news, as far as finished objects, I did have a viewer reach out and see this blanket back here behind me and ask for a pattern. So this is my own pattern, but I haven't done a tutorial for it yet. It's just kind of a cool neon chevron, and it's got all kinds of pretty colors in it. So I will be working on a pattern for this. It's a super easy granny ripple, and not much to it, but I'll get a tutorial going on that for you guys. So that's not something I finished this week. This is a blanket that's been in my daughter's room for months and months and just found its way out to the couch. So let's get started with the works in progress. So I do have a few new WIPs to show you this week. Now, typically when I've only finished one blanket, I would only start one new WIP, but I did start 2 WIPs. So let me start off and show you those. So what happened was I started working on a vintage pattern that I found. It's like from 1906 maybe, but early 1900s. And this is the pattern as it was working up. And this stitch is not one that I had seen before. And I searched for it and couldn't find it. So as I was working up this stitch, I did decide that I wanted to do a bigger blanket in the same stitch. So this particular pattern, if you have gone to the community tab, you may see I'm running a poll right now as far as a contrasting color to put with this blanket. So this baby blanket is made up in panels. So the main color is going to be white. And then there's a contrasting color that's used both for the edging on the panels as well as in the border. So if you haven't already, pop over to my page, my YouTube channel, and click on the community tab and cast your vote there. So I did put some color ideas I had come up with, and surprisingly, a lot of people are also commenting green. But if you have any ideas, either vote on the options that I have or click the other poll option and then leave in the comments what color you would do for a border on just a white baby blanket with a single color border. So this project started the idea to create this project, and I've got it in my cute Hobby Lobby gnome bag. So what I did was I took that same stitch and I worked up using Karen's swirl cake, Karen's cinnamon swirl cake and cinnamon. So this is that same stitch, just worked in a bigger blanket. I think this is about 38 inches wide. And I love that we're getting the self-striping effect here. And I don't know if you can see that texture on that pattern. Now this is a single crochet variation. And truth be told, I hate single crochet. I think it's way too slow of a stitch, but because of the way this stitch works up, it works up very quickly. And I'm absolutely loving working on it. Now this is my first time working with the cinnamon swirl cakes. And when I first started working with it, I thought it was going to be very rough. So when I had picked up the balls from Michael's, I was, you know, the texture feels a little bit rougher than I would like, especially for a baby blanket, but kind of on par with, you know, the regular Karen brand of yarn or the Red Heart Super Saver, kind of on par with that. But as I'm working it up in this pattern, it is kind of squishy and soft, and I do think once I wash it, especially if I put some fabric softener in with it, it's going to come out really nice. Now I will say this yarn has had, I've gone through one ball already, and I think it's going to be 3 balls to finish this project just based on the width that I have. So this is all one cake, but I've had 3 different yarn changes. And so you can see here I'm at the end and there's a yarn change there. And I mean, it's not too bad, but 3 to me seems like kind of a lot. Overall, it's not a big deal for me, but when this last one, and thankfully there's not much left on it, this last yarn change actually changed the color sequence. So it should be going from yellow to, you can see here, yellow to a peachy, and it went from yellow back to purple. So I'm actually going to have to cut this off because it's going to start changing color the wrong way and mess up the striping pattern. So not a big deal. Luckily, it was at the end, but we'll take care of that. So this is exciting. And once this is done, I will make a tutorial for it. I know my tutorial list is getting kind of long, but I do have some time scheduled to get some stuff filmed for you guys. Okay, let's go on to the next whip. This is the purple corner to corner chevron that I've been working on. And I will be publishing a tutorial for this as well. So I'm almost done. So I've gotten, and this is kind of a big one, but I've gotten the holes. So this is the original side all the way up to the top. And now on the left side, I'm also up to the top. So all that I have left is to do kind of where I've done here, this fill-in section, and to complete the rectangle. So I'll start working up and completing the rectangle. This is such a big blanket, it's kind of hard to show on screen. And then I've got to decide on a border for this one. So if you have any border ideas for a corner to corner, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you the types of borders that you would put on a corner to corner like this. So this one should be done next week. It's been really, I've been working on it. I've already weaved in my ends from the bottom. So the only ends that are left are these few from this week up here at the top. But yeah, this should be done this week, and then I'll get a tutorial done and get that posted. So if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications so that you can see the finished object of that blanket in next week's podcast. So this is one that I've had on the hook for a while. This is the Briar Rose pattern by Hooked on Sunshine. And let me make sure, yeah, that's the front. Really pretty. And I'm using big twist yarns in this. Well, big twist and little twist in the colors yellow, white, pink, purple, and gray. Now, there may be other names for these colors, but this pattern, as well as another one of Hooked on Sunshine's patterns, I've really been enjoying kind of the intricate, complex nature of them. But that also means they're not the first project for me to pick up because they're not as easy to work on. So this is going to be a baby blanket, and it'll be a gift for someone. And I'm really excited to continue working on this one, but it's not something that I pick up every week just because the pattern is not something I'm used to and it's not as easy to work on. However, now that I am in this section, it is a repeat. So it'll start to get more easier, I think, the more that I work on it. And this is a paid pattern. I'll link to the website for this in the description below. Next up, we have this Country Fields blanket. This is a Yarnspirations pattern, and I kind of changed the colors to match like a John Deere tractor print that I have. And the idea behind that is just that I would work up the blanket and then sew a matching pillowcase and be able to gift that as a set of the blanket and the pillowcase for like a toddler or small child. And so this is working up good. I actually had, as part of my organization, must have taken the yarn out of the bin that it was in and put it away or organized it. So I've only found the yellow and the green yarn. I've got to track down where I have the orange and the gray so that I can keep working on this. But I did write up a kind of chart, and I think I have 17 rows left of this, and it's super easy. It's double crochets and double crochet or granny clusters. So, and actually that's all upside down. There we go. So you can see the repeat is here from the yellow and you can see the repeat is here from the black and then goes all the way up, and then I have one more repeat to do. So that's another whip. Again, I just work on this one as I have time. These colors aren't really my favorite colors, so I don't work on it as often as I should. And the final whip that I have to show you guys is, again, this shawl that I've been working on with the vintage stitch. So I think we're down to just one skein of yarn left on this thing, and then it will be done. And yeah, it's working up great. I don't think I'm actually going to put a border on this one. I might do like a single crochet edging, but just by itself, I think it's really nice. The only thing is when you do a row at the top, actually that doesn't look that bad now that I see it on camera. So yeah, maybe I won't do a border on this one at all and just kind of let it flow. This week I'll be filming another separate whip video showing you all of the whips that I'm coming into June with, so keep an eye on the channel for that. I'll also film another video with all of the finished objects that I had for the month of May. So those are two videos that are coming up, so if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get notifications. Until next time, keep calm and crochet on.